celebrity voices. Listener discretion is advised.
This is Warlock David Ingram, and my computer screen has just gone blank. Let me try that again. Hang on. Okay. This is Warlock David Ingram from Hail of Bullets, Down Among the Dead Men, Echelon, Ursina, and a fuck ton of other bands as well. You're listening to the Devil You Know podcast. Turn it up, grab something wet and slippery, and put it in your mouth. No, wait, no. You're listening to the Devil You Know. Turn it up loud, have a laugh. It really is shawsome.
Yeah, 1 second here. Let me get my go juice here.
All right. I know I need a drink, but go ahead. Let's get it.
Killian's. All right. I don't know what to say anymore.
But just say all right.
Hello. All right. What's happening? Hello,
Yeah.
America. You know how hard it is to come up with a new word, a new way to start the show. I mean,
Yeah,
crazy.
After hearing, we're on episode 54, and
54.
I've heard probably 48 all right as an intro.
All right.
And,
All right.
like,
No, I
all
did
right.
some other stupid shit with that, but
Yeah.
Hola.
There's probably 48 all right. Someone listen to that and let us know. Thanks.
Yep, tally.
Yeah.
Get a tally up. All right. What's happening, John?
Nothing, man. Just sitting back and watching the freak show online and shit, and news and stuff, and I find it all very entertaining at best.
Man, like I thought once the election was done, I thought that we'd be done with the political posts on Facebook, but
Hell
holy
no.
fuck, it's still happening, man. First of all, if you're living under a rock and you don't know, Trump is our president-elect.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, I'm one of the people that said from the beginning, there's no way that guy's going to be president.
It does. There's a certain level of ridiculousness, if that's a word, to it.
But it's it's done fairly, and that's how it goes.
Yeah, and a lot. I noticed too. A lot of people, they don't realize that. They're like, well, Clinton won the popular vote, so shouldn't she be president? Nope, not how it works, buddy. Electoral college, you got people that vote for you, so and they do what they want, so that's why your vote has no fucking impact. But they don't realize that, and they learn it for the first time in their lives, and they get angry and they run in through the streets. At least entitled millennials out there who have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
And that shit's getting old. That's ridiculous to me. Like, you talk about how you're not treated right, and then you go out and complain when you lose, and you just start
and
trouble.
then you go out and
and
mistreat others. That's great.
I mean, now that's happening on both sides, of course. But it's funny. Like we can, no matter which side you're on, you can find a horror story to kind of back you up. Like Trump supporters are telling black people or telling Muslim people or this and that. They're like, Trump's gonna get you, and then somebody will say, well, these Clinton supporters pulled Trump supporters out of their cars and beat them, and I mean it's just ridiculous. Like, people are still assholes on both sides. It's not gonna change.
Yeah. The fucking, like, I watched this. Ruth put a link up about Russell Brand, this little video that was out, and I watched it, and I was like, it kind of opened my eyes, because I'm like, no shit, he's right in a sense, because, and I'm not gonna even try to paraphrase, but just to summarize, it was more like people are dumbfounded by this whole thing, but when you look at it, this is exactly what we deserve. This is what we needed. This is what had to happen, because everyone's sick of the way things are going. Business as usual. Wars and all these different things, and someone had to come along that's as ridiculous as Trump is to say, I'm going to change all that. This is not going down like this anymore. And I read his 100-day plan, and I can't really see anything in there besides slapping the dragon that he did with the calling China a currency manipulator. They might be, but
right.
Maybe there's a more strategic way to go about that fight. But
right.
yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I really can't find anything wrong with the rest of his argument there. People are like, oh, he's racist. Because he said get rid of the illegal immigrants. No, that doesn't make him racist, man.
Right.
He's the key word being there, illegal. So
yeah, and I think I've heard something about Barack Obama getting rid of more illegal immigrants than anyone has. So. But
they don't want to talk about that.
No, of course not.
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah.
It's an inconvenient facts, kind of suck.
I remember when Obama talked about bringing the number of nuclear weapons down to a real low minimum or getting rid of them altogether, whatever. He's produced more during his presidency than all the other presidents combined. People don't even know that. It's just all bullshit. And that's the thing. Trump is not a politician. He's not. He's a businessman. And I've wanted a businessman in there since fucking Ross Perot, if you remember that guy. Ron Paul was awesome. And it would never happen. It had to be Trump. It just had to be him. So we'll just better get used to it, and we'll see what happens, and we'll deal with it as things happen. But to go
and I think that's my thing is like up until this whole thing, I was very much like, no, Trump is not the guy who should be president, but he is. He's the one who is. So that's that. Like I'm not the kind of person that's going to whine about this stuff, and I want to see what he can do. Like I think to just badmouth instead of saying, all right, now that we've got him here, let's try our damnedest to support him and help guide him in the way that things, that we need things done. Rather than just whine and bitch about it. That's never solved anything.
Yeah. But a lot of the other presidencies, even with Obama, I just mentioned him not particularly for any reason, but just other than that he was the latest one, so it's easy to remember this. He made a lot of promises, and when he got into office, he pivoted, and he did not make on any of these promises. And except the change one, it wasn't for the better.
Well,
it was change.
No, to be fair, have we ever seen so much refusal from Congress to just fold their arms and go, "We're refusing to help," than we did with Obama?
Oh yeah, no, it was all, there was opposition on all three sides, But
none of them are really, and I certainly don't think that Hillary would have been necessarily good for us either. So
that's just business as usual.
It's a shit sandwich. It always has been. It always will be. And there's no such thing as the perfect guy or lady or whoever, to step in there. So.
But my point with all that was, it'd be interesting to see if Trump pivots and if he does make good on any of his promises here. So maybe he became a politician. I don't know.
Who knows?
Because I think everyone has to say and do what they have to get in, and once they get in, then it's a whole different story. You're singing a different tune, but we'll see what happens, man. Everybody just needs to calm down, I think. And I think everybody needs to stop telling everybody to calm down.
I say chill out, have a drink, listen to the WNO.
Hell yeah.
You can always go back and start over again and listen to, because they're even better the second time.
Yeah. Plus we've got
vagina.
Yeah. Which is always good.
Amy Pitt. That's funny.
Yeah.
Let's go on with the show, man. Unless you got something else to say.
No. Fuck this.
All right.
The Law of Gyps.
Law number 23. Always stand your ground, but only when you're assured that it is solid ground. It's perfectly fine to take a stand on a position when you're convinced that you're correct, especially when that position is something that means very much to you. However, always keep in mind that you just may be wrong. If and when in the event you're presented with evidence that points to the contrary to your original position, be willing to be flexible with your position. If not outright, be willing to change it. If facts are presented before you and you're unwilling to accept facts, you're sinking yourself into a river of willful ignorance. It helps to think with your head, Because if you don't, what you hold close to you in your heart holds no air. Hail Satan.
Welcome to the Daily Grind. Today's fix: checking your car's oil. Because who doesn't like a little bit of lubrication every now and again? Step 1. With the hood of your car open, firmly grasp the oil dipstick before sliding it out and wiping it clean on a dry rag. Then you can go ahead and insert the dipstick right back in. Before too long, slide the dipstick back out again and take a look at where the slickness of the oil reaches. If it doesn't quite hit the mark, you may need some more lubrication. But if it's nice and full, you can go ahead and slide the dipstick right back in. This has been Satanist Misty Tyers, bringing you your daily grind.
Behold the crucifix. What does it symbolize? Pallid incompetence hanging on a tree. I question all things as I stand before the festering and varnished facades of your haughtiest moral dogmas. I write thereon in letters of blazing scorn, lo and behold, all this is fraud. Gather round me, O ye death-defiant, and the earth itself shall be thine to have and to hold. Too long the dead hand has been permitted to sterilize living thought. Too long right and wrong, good and evil have been inverted by false prophets. No creed must be accepted upon authority of a divine nature. Religions must be put to the question. No moral dogma shall be taken for granted, no standard of measurement deified. There is nothing inherently sacred about moral codes. Like the wooden idols of long ago, they are work of human hands, and what man has made, man can destroy. He that is slow to believe anything and everything is of great understanding, for belief in one false principle is the beginning of all unwisdom. The chief duty of every new age is to upraise new men, to determine its liberties, to lead it towards material success, to rend the rusty padlocks and chains of dead custom that always prevent healthy expansion. Theories and ideas that may have meant life and hope and freedom for our ancestors may now mean destruction, slavery, and dishonor to us. As environments change, no human ideal standeth sure. Whenever, therefore, a lie has built unto itself a throne, let it be assailed without pity and without regret, for under the domination of an inconvenient falsehood, no one can prosper. Let established sophisms be dethroned, rooted out, burnt and destroyed, for they are standing menace to all true nobility of thought and action. Whatever alleged truth is proven by results to be but an empty fiction, let it be unceremoniously flung into the outer darkness among the dead gods, dead empires, dead philosophies, and other useless lumber and wreckage. The most dangerous of all enthroned lies is the holy, the sanctified, the privileged lie. The lie everyone believes to be a moral truth. It is the fruitful mother of all other popular errors and delusions. It is a hydra-headed tree of unreason with 1,000 roots. It is a social cancer. The lie that is known to be a lie is half eradicated. But the lie that even intelligent persons accept as fact, the lie that has been inculcated in a little child at his mother's knee, is more dangerous to contend against than a creeping pestilence. Popular lies have ever been the most potent enemies of personal liberty. There is only one way to deal with them. Cut them out to the very core, just as cancers. Exterminate them root and branch. Annihilate them, or they will us.
All right. So for episode 54, John Shaw, I think we should be like David Lee Roth, living in paradise.
Wow! All right.
Yeah!
You know who we got?
We got.
You don't know who we got. It's a surprise. It is. Oh shit! Hold on one second. I can't tell you yet. Remember how I'm always late with like all the crazy shit with the applause and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to be this.
He's
time.
getting it ready.
Yeah,
he's getting the audience warmed up.
I'm getting it ready. Ready? Our guest today is Magister Matt Paradise. Everyone.
Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
Thank you, everyone. Good. Doing well.
What's happening?
And both good and well.
Good and
Covering
well.
my bases there.
Right
Oh
on.
shit! I had it ducked. The applause.
You had a what?
It should have started like this, and then
There we
ducked down, and then faded out. I'll get it right one of these times. Everybody's laughing at me.
Nice.
It's thoroughly believable.
Yeah. I could totally tell that there's actual people there.
Sure.
It's
Applauding.
It's a captive audience.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Oh, excellent. The new podcast is awesome. Accusation Party.
Thank you very much.
Totally loving it. Of course, I mean, we know you from plenty of things. We usually start where we're at and kind of work backwards and bounce around. And
Up and down,
Obviously-
and speeding all over.
yeah.
Like a bounce.
Accusation Party seems like it's getting a lot of attention. Looks like a lot of people are checking out. Like I said, I enjoy it. I use it on my leg days at the gym. I listen to it.
Nice. I'm involved with your legs. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
That sounds naughty.
So I mean, obviously that seems like it's a hell of a lot of research. Like whenever you put a new episode out, I mean, you must just go through so much video and audio and just listening to stuff that you don't even give a shit about and have to cut it out.
Well, quite a bit. In fact, so much so that I'm late with the new episode. So that's why. As well as the fact that I'm working on 2 mini podcasts, one of which I recently put out called Strange Moments in Cultural History,
Right.
which is pretty exciting.
Excellent.
And another one I'm not going to talk about until next week.
Come on, you could tell us.
It's
Oh,
all
no,
about
no.
it's all about the inside story on Vinnie Vincent Invasion. I already know.
Of course. You know, I met Vinnie
its
Vincent.
victim.
Exciting.
You say you met him?
I did. I met him. The band was playing. They were opening for Alice Cooper, 1986, and I was at a Strawberries Records and Tapes, and Vinnie Vincent Invasion was there signing records, and I met Vinnie Vincent, and he had this really limp-wristed handshake. Like, he literally bent his wrist and handed it to me. Like I was supposed to kiss it.
Well, it was
And, I
gold though. You don't mess with the tools of the trade though. You know.
Yeah, I didn't deal with him. Dana Strum was next door, and I was a bass player anyway, so I talked to him for quite a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dana
I
makes
dug
the
them.
rounds, man. He plays with everybody. He plays with Vince Neil and Piercy. I've seen him play with all kinds of people.
I dug Vinnie Vincent Invasion, man. That was a pretty cool album.
That first record was pretty good.
Yeah. So you weren't a Mark Slaughter fan then?
I was okay with him. They had that first singer. I forgot his name. He looked like an insurance salesman.
Yeah.
I totally forgot his name. But he was good. Of course, you know they kicked Vinnie Vincent out of the Vinnie Vincent Invasion, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Utterly
Of course.
amazing.
That's
Get kicked out of your own band named after you.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
They just renamed it after the singer. So yeah,
It did. Why not?
Nice.
How can you kick me out of what is mine? Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, what's the inspiration for the accusation party? What made you decide that you wanted to do something like this? Because it's a big change from the humorous side of terror transmission.
It is. It is. First of all, terror transmission, we're not doing anymore. Mostly my partner, he wanted to do things that actually made money. So he went off and did those things. And I wanted to do another podcast. And I don't know, this time, what I'm doing these days or thinking about these days is a lot of these issues. There's a lot of the social justice warrior stuff and a lot of the sort of regressive left things in general. and some people talk about them on one side or the other, but I always feel like there's something I can say that's going to add to the discussion. So I started the accusation party, doing it roughly every month, exploring the touchy subjects, including hate speech, inequality, feminism, eugenics.
Feminism, yeah.
Tell us about the internet, Grandpa.
Sure. Well, way back in 1969. Yeah.
That's awesome, though. You're busy, man. You sound fucking busy. That's a lot of research, like Dorian was saying earlier. The podcast that you air is like filled with things that like took you 80 years to achieve.
Yeah, and then I have to put it together and make other points that people in the research don't, which is fun.
Which is, I mean, it's really good. Like, I really enjoyed the one you did on. Well, I've enjoyed all of them so far, but I really enjoyed the one on feminism. And you had a really good point yourself to make on just in your observations from being in computer classes in college.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. You'd see this one girl who would come in and she'd be there for a week and then leave. I'm like, okay. Usually it was like the easier classes, some of them too. I'm like, well, you could stay for another month or whatever, but no, not so much. And believe me, those horny nerds were really like, where are the girls?
Yeah.
They have different motives, mind you, but they do want
there.
women in their classes.
Right, exactly.
They do. They want to share it with the opposite sex.
I hear that all the time from being in the tattoo industry and hearing female artists say the same sort of thing. Like, well, it's really hard for female artists. I'm like, I've worked with female artists since I started over 20 years ago, and I've never seen them have a problem. If anything, I see them get customers that I wish I had because they're cute.
Yeah, I have ink on me from women, so they're there.
Alrighty.
And they're not offended by your beard?
No, they love the beard. They like to touch it.
Nice.
They like to stroke it nicely, lovingly.
Yeah. Did they ever request that you do some chin painting? I don't know where I'm going with this. Just move on, Dorian.
You ever get tired of people comparing the way we look?
No, never.
Was I just stupid to take that picture of us with the name tags swapped?
I was trying to point out the Nazi saluting guy in the back. I was trying to draw it away from us, and no one did. So what are you gonna do?
Shit.
Now people are looking at that picture going, Nazi salute? What?
Yeah, right.
I gotta see this again. Yeah.
Obviously, terror transmission kind of showed that you have quite a love for horror movies as well, and you seem like you guys really had a lot of facts on the different movies and the different actors and everything behind it. Is that just something that you've always just been involved with, just research?
Well, the research was heavily on Jason's side. Jason was my co-host. He did a great deal of that. I knew a lot of stuff too, just from absorbing a lot of the horror world in general. I've been a fan since I snuck into John Carpenter's Halloween when I was 10 years old, and and all of that. That was fun. I had nightmares for 2 weeks. It was crazy. Couldn't tell my mom because I snuck into the movie, and you give yourself away if you do that. So
right,
just had to live with it. But yeah.
So you stuck more to the drink making side of that show then.
We did a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
A lot of drinking. Yeah. Yeah. Is it evident? I don't know.
I mean, once or twice.
Sure.
Well, listen. I wanted to hit on this really quick because you mentioned Vinnie Vincent, and he was in a band called Kiss, and I know that everybody knows this about you except pseudos. You're into Kiss. Can you kind of elaborate on that? Why and how it all started?
Sure. I discovered Kiss in 2 separate occasions, but I think I was just too young to really get into them. First time was when Kiss Meets the Phantom at the Park was on TV. I was 10 years old, and I was in a circus hotel room. My family went off to gamble, and they left me with this in-hotel babysitter, this hot teenage girl, who was like, "Hey, let's watch the Kiss movie." And I was like, "I don't know what that is, but sure." So we sat on the floor of this hotel room and we watched it.
Talk more about the babysitter.
Gaga.
Yeah,
it's amazing. What's that?
Talk more about the babysitter.
She had long blonde hair. It was a very straight, middle parted, like most girls in '78 had their hair.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
She had tight bell bottoms on. Yeah.
Was it feathered on the sides?
Fantastic. What's that?
Was it feathered on the sides?
Of course.
No, this was actually just straight.
Oh, okay.
Dead straight. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
But it was great. And I was like, oh my God, who's this Gene Simmons guy? I was totally freaked out by him. And then the second time, my friend in 6th grade had these 2 older brothers, and they bought everything Kiss. They had walls covered in Kiss, and they bought the guitars. One of them bought the Axe bass, had it mounted above his bed.
Nice.
Pretty astounding. But again, I was just too young. I think I was 11 at the time. And then I think it was, 15. I had moved back to the city, and I was with some old friends, and we were watching cable TV. And I had been, before that, living in a bunch of really, really rural areas out west, mostly in Utah. And so I was pretty deprived of culture, especially popular culture. And but obviously I knew about Kiss. And then there's a special on Kiss that was on, oh God, I want to say Night Flight. And so they played this interview, which I found later on YouTube. It was definitely Creatures of the Night era with Vinny and such. And Vinny, we bring him back. And
Full circle.
So they're talking about that. Then they played the I Love It Loud video. And I'm like, what? Kiss doesn't sound like this. Is amazing. I think I found my music. I had 2 moments at that point. And then they showed the Lick It Up video right after that. And I was like, what? They took the makeup off? And my friends are laughing. And yeah, that's what I was like. A, I found my music, and B, I'm a Kiss fan.
Oh
There we
yeah.
go.
Nice.
I think what I grew up in a of course super Christian home, so they actually believed the whole Knights and Satan's service. And I remember going to a cousin's house, and he had all the solo albums posters up on the wall, and I was just mesmerized by them, and I wanted to listen to it so bad. And of course my parents wouldn't let me, and I was going to end up.
So what did you imagine they sounded like? Because your imagination must have been running just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't, much comparison. I mean, I would catch,
no reference,
I would catch music on the radio every now and then, but I mean, not,
Oh, it's Pat Benatar with kabuki makeup.
I don't even think my parents would had on anything with Pat Benatar. Maybe like hardcore for them was Billy Joel or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I had a friend, Ricky Schroeder, who.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, when I was growing up, this
Silver Spoons?
No, not different Ricky, but different Schroeder, I guess. But he, we used to hang out and do like night ninja missions and all this crazy kung fu stuff all the time. But anyway, we go back to his place and in his attic, and he's got an extra room up there, and it was just nothing but Kiss all over the place. I'm like, what is this? I never heard them before. Yeah. And we just go up there and chill out and hang out, and he would just play Kiss nonstop, and I was so into it, And we went to our first concert together was the Kiss Asylum tour.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
I saw that tour. I saw it twice.
Oh, nice.
Well, you know what?
Great.
Kind of funny is that about the Kiss Meets the Phantom is that, I mean, just how much of an effect that movie has. When my kids, my 2 older daughters who are 16 and 19 now, just like my youngest, she was born in 2000, so 2004, 2005. They wanted to start getting into other stuff besides just their cute little cartoons, and they were kind of interested in superheroes. And I found the old Kiss Meets the Phantom VHS test, so I put it in for them to check out. I said, these guys are like, superheroes, but it's cool music, because, they're used to me playing Motley Crue and, Van Halen and all that stuff. So,
sure.
And so, I mean, yeah, early 2000s to mid 2000s, and my kids had become Kiss fans. So from Kiss Meets the Phantom.
Nice.
I got a little bit of news for you guys. I shouldn't do this, but Marlene is not a fan of Kiss.
What?
No.
Oh my God! Don't hate her. Don't hate on her.
Oh.
I hate her enough for that. But
have you gone to any of the reunion tours? Either of you?
No.
I had not.
No?
I thought about it this year, but I just didn't get down to Worcester or Boston. I can't remember which one.
think the last time I saw him was probably like 6 or 7 years ago with Motley Crue.
Was that on their final tour?
Yeah, one of them.
One of them.
One of the 20 tours, final tours they did. Yeah, sure.
Dorian, how many times?
Tradition.
Dorian, how many times have you seen Motley Crue?
Shit, I don't know. Probably 12, 13 times.
Nice.
I think.
Okay.
Oh. I've probably seen Kiss probably 7 or 8 times at least. So.
Oh, very cool. How many concerts have you been to Kiss, Matt?
Maybe a dozen or so.
Oh, cool.
Nice. But
Okay.
you saw them when they were back, when they were still had a little bit of youth in them, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I
he
saw
had a
some
little bit of
tours
youth in
twice
him,
too. I saw Unmasked, or the one before Asylum. I saw that one twice too.
Nice.
Animalize. There's my brain.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
No.
Wait, was that with Mark St. John?
Well, he wasn't playing. I think he attempted a couple of the dates on the European tour, which started the tour. Or no, they did Detroit, then they hopped over to England. But no, it was Kulik
Gotcha.
by this time.
Oh, okay. All right, right on. So I think by now we've got our podcast listeners down to a very obscure listening audience. Now that we've
It's a
talked about Mark
selective
St. John.
audience. Just becoming more
What are you
selective.
talking about?
Well, let's talk about something that I think that many of us know you from is from your works in Purging Talon, including, of course, Bearing the Devil's Mark. That book actually I've read it a few times. It really had a strong impact on me just because your book was the first one that I'd read from somebody who wasn't, like a high priest. Like I'd read Anton's books and then I read, Peter's. And so when I got a hold of yours, I was like, oh, it's somebody who's, more like my age. And, it kind of gave me, I guess, something a little different to dial into. So how long did it take you to put that together? Was that just years of different
It is.
essays?
It covers a lot of writing, mostly from, I want to say 93, 94, 95, till about whenever the book came out, which I think was, 07, 08. And a few of the pieces I look at now, I'm like, wow, I was kind of young when I wrote that. They're still decent, they're still readable, but, you always pick at your old work a little bit.
Sure.
Want to go, I would change this maybe a little bit or add this. So I don't read my own books very often because of that, because I just get too critical. But in general, it was a great experience putting out that book. I was really excited about it. Still excited about it. Believe it or not, it still makes money, which is mind-blowing so many years later, because books tend to have that, not to put shelf life, if you will. But
I get it.
It is. It's a good. It's a great book, though. I mean, have you considered doing a volume 2?
I hadn't. I'm still writing some other stuff. Well, I'm writing for my new show, and I might do something book-oriented with that material, because I seem to write a whole bunch of it, but then I write some excess stuff that doesn't quite make it into the show for one reason or another. I've thought about putting out a couple anthologies in the last 10 years, but I'll tell you, I've been a little gun-shy about that, mostly because my fear, and I think it's a rational one, is that if you include some people, they might turn tail later, particularly on the COS, and then now you've just promoted someone who's an asshole,
Gotcha.
Great.
So, yeah. And, I had a book, an anthology ready, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7, and literally 4 people in it ditched the COS and backtalked it. And I was just like, I could have promoted those people, but look, I sat on this book, and yeah. And there were a couple more who just came, just turned out to be kind of blah. So, yeah. You wait long enough, there's some people that just
Occasional loonies, yeah.
Shit, it blows.
Yeah, it does.
It does. I had a question. Oh, your new show, is it going to be like audio, or are you going to put some video in there, or what?
All the shows are audio.
Okay.
So far, The Accusation Party is, Strange Moments in Cultural History is, and then the show I'm not telling you about is as well.
Awesome.
Nah. Yeah.
You'll find out next week.
Yeah, of course.
Top secrets.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, can you tell us a little bit about your background, your upbringing, how you discovered Satanism, that sort of thing?
Sure. I was an only child, raised by a single mom. I was born in 1968, so that puts me around your generation.
Wow.
my mom was pretty interesting. She was from the boomer generation, so she went through those phases of trying different strains of spirituality. So I basically sort of went along for the ride as an observer. I never really pushed into anything religious. Realistically, my mom kind of just encouraged me to be an individual, kind of left me alone to do my own thing.
Cool.
Which was great.
Yeah,
my mom felt it was really important to raise an individual. She was very singularly minded about that in a really good way.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I was exposed to a lot of different aspects of culture. That's what I remember most about my childhood. I don't remember this, go to church and do this and do that. I was more like, here's literature, here's theater, here's art, here's classical music. So my mom was really into introducing me to all that kind of stuff, make a well-rounded young man. And
nice.
I gotta say real quick, that's awesome because we don't really hear that much. You know what I mean? We hear I gotta say cliche at this point, a Christian thing or the very religious, Catholic thing, and we don't get to hear that very often. It's actually really cool. Way to go,
Mom. A lot
of
rotten parents out there. So yeah,
sweet.
Yeah,
a lot of rotten parents out there.
Love my mom.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Other than that, I was sort of a happy loner kid, classic only kid, I guess. I read a lot. Most of my pursuits were solitary in nature, and I liked it that way. I wasn't unhappy about that at all. I moved a lot, so it kind of worked out. Anyways, I was really more interested in my mom and her friends. I was more interested in adults as a kid. I didn't really connect with other kids. I found them sort of tedious and unrelatable a great deal. Right. My interests weren't theirs. I know a lot of Satanists who sort of have that childhood too. It was unorthodox. My childhood, but I was really happy. And as you said, probably lucky in that sense because other people have shitty parents and bad situations. And I'm fortunate not to have been in that. I consider myself hugely lucky in that regard because I saw a lot of stuff. When you're a metalhead, you have metal friends, and some of them have really, really horrendous parents, and you see some stuff, and you're like, wow, pretty crazy. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. All right, and then as far as discovering Satanism,
sure. I say I officially discovered Satanism in 1983, probably tail end of '83. I say that because 2 years prior, in the fall of '81, I read what was then called The Complete Witch. And I know I've talked about this before somewhere else, but I read it. What's that?
I think in your book you talk about it a little bit, but
I might have talked about it a little bit, yeah. I'll be honest, I didn't get much from it. I understood what it was saying and what it was implying, but it really just made zero impact on me, so I kind of forgot about it. And I did remember the author because he's an interesting-looking guy, so you remember his countenance. But '83, I went to my favorite bookstore. I found the Satanic Bible and the Satanic Rituals. As always, I saw myself in those books, identified with the title of Satanist. And again, I flipped over the cover and I was like, hey, there's that guy that wrote that other book I read a couple years back. So there's that. I joined in '91. And throughout much of the '80s, I really didn't know the COS was still around. Again, I was still kind of sheltered in a lot of ways. I didn't watch a lot of TV, so I kind of missed a lot of the Satanic Panic inadvertently.
Yeah. Lucky you.
I kind of understood it was the Reagan era. I understood social conservatism and Christian fundamentalism, and I had fun with that as a kid. Who doesn't when they're into metal and a teenager in the '80s?
Of course.
Right. So I did join in '91. I was made a member of the priesthood in '97. One of the final priesthoods granted by Dr. LaVey before he passed away.
Yeah.
And then I was made a magister by Magus Gilmore in '04. So that's my tale.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
So did you tell family and friends of your affiliation and title and things?
Some people in my family know and some people don't. Okay. I guess I don't really quiz the ones I think may or may not know because I let it lay.
Yeah.
And I think some of them would kind of just like to sort of not make waves and kind of leave it be. So I know there are people I suspect. Most of the people on my mom's side know. My mom knows. But, I haven't had really any real difficulty with it. I mean, maybe the oldest people back in the 80s, my sort of grandmother and great-grandmother's generations might have had a little bit of an issue with it. But, those days have passed. So
yeah. You need some milk, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you ever hang out in a heavy metal parking lot?
Quite a few, actually. Quite a few. Yeah. I was, I don't know if you know this, I was in a fake band.
What's that?
There's the silence. right there for a second.
like, wait, what?
Well, I was in bands previous, but in the fall of '88, my friends Pete and Scott and I we were getting together. We were watching The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years.
Nice.
Of course.
For those who know that documentary.
It's a staple.
It was kind of like a Bible of sorts to live your life, which is scary, really, in retrospect.
We are not role models for your life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're watching the movie, and we're like, being in bands is a lot of fun. There's a lot of fringe benefits that come along with it. Women are the chief one. But we're like, we're kind of tired of being in bands right now. Maybe we'll do it later. But I'd still like to get the fringe benefits. And I said, well, why don't we do a fake band? And then my friend Scott immediately came in with all the what if situations. Like, well, how are we going to pull that off? What if someone asks us, where we played? And I'd say, well, ask me that. And he did. And I'd say, well, let's see. Were you at TT the Bears 2 weeks ago? And usually they'd say no. Or if they said yes, I'd ask what day. Then I'd just say another day. And if that's where we played, I'd say, well, we invent a fake manager. And he tells us where to play. So we never know where we're going. So covered all our bases. It was pretty fun. For months this went on in Worcester and then later in Boston, Massachusetts. And
did you get laid from that?
We did.
That's what I was
once or
gonna ask.
twice.
Fuck, man.
Actually did. Because the lie got out of hand. Like, we were at one point, we were outside of Boston, and we were at this band's house. The band was called Tempered Steel. They had the best mustaches you can imagine. And we were hanging out, and they also had an aviary, which is interesting for a band house, a metal band house. It had like canaries and all the little teeny birds chirping away. It's hilarious. So we're hanging out. We're talking to the lead singer and the bass player, and they're interested in like playing out with us. Again, no one's heard a note of this band. Yeah. So they're talking, and this kid off to the side of the party hears the conversation. I think he really wants to be a part of it. He comes up to me, and he's like, hey, you're the lead singer of the band. It's called Sinner. I'll tell you that right away. So he shakes my hand, and I'm like, hey, and without missing a beat, I'm like, thanks, man. That's great. Thanks for coming out. Seeing the show. Awesome. So the band dudes from Tempered Steel looked at each other and then looked at us and like, wow, we've got to play with you guys. That'd be great. Then they went off, and then Pete and Scott and I went off a corner. I was like, did that just happen? And I was just like, this thing's on autopilot now. It's like, they're filling in the gaps of the mythology themselves. We don't have to do anything anymore. And this went on from like maybe September, October 88 to April of 89. And we ended up having a fake breakup because Pete was sleeping with Scott's girlfriend, and Scott was sleeping with Pete's girlfriend simultaneously.
Nice.
Which is astounding.
Yeah.
So we had the fake breakup, and we all went back to real bands after that because we got it all out of our system. Like, I miss being in a band.
It's fucking awesome, man.
That sounds like it would be a great like TV show, like a comedy,
Yeah,
TV
I picture
show.
like a little film or something. That'd be funny as hell.
We also, during that time, for a 28-day period, we were watching Decline 2, and they talk in the documentary about how these guys live off of women. They get us to buy all these things and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wouldn't it be fun to just like put $10 in our pockets and get in the shitty green Eldorado that Pete owns and drive to the Boston area and just try to live off the opposite sex for a number of days? And I thought it was really funny, and I was like, no one's going to take this seriously. But 2 days later, Pete shows up at my door going, get your $10, get your clothes, get in the car. We're doing this. And we did. 28 days we did this. We went to all the clubs in the Boston area, and we pick up girls, and they take us to the house, and we do, what boys and girls do. And then we wake up in the morning, and we'd eat, grab food, shower, get out the door. And we did this for 28 days.
Damn, that's awesome. Just imagine what it would be like if you had gone out to LA then and tried that.
Yeah. Well, I was in LA a few times. From 87 to 89. I had this on-again, off-again girlfriend who lived in, I want to say Monrovia or Azusa. I can't remember where, but definitely Southern California. And so I did some trips out there. And so I got to go to the, Gazzari's on the Strip and all those places, and had a good time of it. I stayed away from the heroin, so I did all right. Which I survived in Hollywood in '89. Stay away from the smack.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Yeah.
It's so funny. When I was in a band, we used to girls would call us up. Can we come over? Can we come over? And we'd be like, yeah, you can come over, but you gotta bring us food and do our dishes. And like,
Right.
oh yeah, no problem. Yeah. So it's so funny.
I watched my fake bass player, who was in a real band at the time, watched a girl buy him an $800 Ibanez bass.
Oh, nice.
$800 on the counter, and I just stood in awe.
Yeah, I had a girl buy me a PA, and that was about $2,600. Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Good times. Good times.
It's so funny.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that shit anymore.
Yeah. But we had them, which is great. We don't have to look back and go, oh, I wish I had done this.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that.
no, we did it. It's cool.
Yeah, no regrets.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Well, dude, you're pretty fucking interesting, Matt.
Well, thank you. I'm not the most interesting man in the world, but, I have a good beard, and I have a good shtick.
Yeah.
So I make do. Yeah.
Any upcoming projects that you can talk about? Just the show that you're doing right now?
Yeah, it'll be 3 podcasts total, which is clearly I need more to do. So I'm doing those.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing after that. Again, I'm thinking about doing some writing in print form based on the accusation party and some of the stuff I'm coming into as far as research and stuff.
Oh,
so
cool.
I don't know where that's going to go, but it's in the back brain. I'd like to do something with it. So we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Quick question. The
Sure.
thing that you can't tell us about, is it satanic in nature?
It is, I'd say it's related more to the accusation party than Strange Moments in Cultural History is related to the accusation party, because Strange Moments is a bit of a departure. The 2 mini podcasts they're a little more humorous.
Yeah.
They're a little less serious.
Oh, okay.
So,
What's the
and
name
they're
of it
all going to
again?
be in the same. They're all going to be in the same podcast feed. So if you're already subscribed to Accusation Party through iTunes or whatever, you'll get these new shows. They'll come to you by the feed, and you can check them out. Some people who probably would hate the Accusation Party would actually probably like these other shows because they're a little less serious, or
Right.
a little less left hating. I don't know.
So what was the name of it again?
Strange Moments in Cultural History.
No, the other one.
And then, oh, you mean the other show that I can't tell you about?
Damn. I'm trying to get it out.
So clever, John. So
Yeah,
clever.
right. Yeah, right. Nice try, a-hole.
Almost made it.
That's great. That's great. Hey, well, we got another question for you before you go.
Sure.
What is your favorite satanic quote and why?
Okay. I have a quote that begins my book, Bearing the Devil's Mark. It's also found in the Book of Satanic Quotations, available at Amazon.com and most major online booksellers. It is by Ayn Rand. It's from Anthem, her shortest book, I believe. The quote is, "And now I see the face of God, and I raise this God over the earth, this God whom men have sought since men came into being, this God who will grant them joy and peace and pride, this God, this one word, I."
Excellent.
That was priceless.
Excellent quote. All right.
All right.
Matt, we got to thank you for being here. I know it's been hard for all of us to line up our schedules. We've been trying to get you on here forever, but we're glad we finally got you in.
Yeah, me too. I love your show. I listen to it every episode. It's great stuff.
Oh, thanks, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, you bet.
Well, you're now a devil we know. And
excellent.
Until next time, everyone, hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.